Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unschooling Lifestyle. Today, we have two guests from AOE Esports. So we have Harry, the founder of AOE Esports, and we have Coach Ali. So we're going to get started. Harry, if you could just get us started with like an introduction on how you came to start this venture about esports.
Sure. Well, I'm a co-founder. My partner, Sharab Deb, he's not on this call,
Okay.
but so we're partners in other ventures. And about I'm not great with time.
It's okay.
About maybe 4 to 5 years ago, we were just talking, and we saw the popularity of esports,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't see anyone kind of running it on a recreational level.
Okay.
Meaning you had to either be in college or on a pro scene, or you're just playing from home
Okay.
randomly. So part of my background is in traditional sports, organizing and running traditional sports.
Okay.
So the transition now, I grew up playing games, but I would not consider myself a gamer in the sense that, the last I wouldn't not consider myself an esports gamer where it's on a team sort of setting.
Okay.
I played more traditional, arcade style game. I mean, my whole life, and all the consoles and all the handhelds. And so we researched it, and when we first started off, our concept was going to be youth and adult, and we kind of gravitated more towards the youth model.
Okay.
And even when we first opened, we were also kind of an open arcade style, meaning you could just come in, rent time, and play on our
Mhm.
PCs. We gravitated away from that, and we're just more into the structured leagues, camps, similar to a tennis club model, where you can also get, private lessons, semi-private lessons.
Mhm.
And well, to do that, you have to have good coaches and the people that are good with kids and really passionate about esports. And so we opened our first location on Maple Road in Troy just about 3 years ago. And then we
Okay.
took a deal with the City of Troy School District to be their exclusive provider of esports.
Mm.
So they gave us a location in one of their schools, the Troy College and Community High School, right on Big Beaver Road. And it was a nice space, and we moved all of our stuff over there, and we've been operating there for almost 2 years now.
Before you became a coach, how does your gaming transitions into a more professional level? And what was your family's like reaction support? How does that happen for you?
Well, I've been gaming all my life as a kid. Most kids, when they grow up, they get video games and consoles and whatnot. And I really started taking esports serious at around 2018 when I
Okay.
started streaming on Twitch. Um,
Hmm.
Fortnite was relatively new then and like most popular. It still is pretty popular, but around like the early ages, like season one, I started really getting into streaming, and I also started streaming Call of Duty. I want to
Okay.
say last year I last year I got interviewed or kind of recruited for Clear University
Okay.
to join their esports team. And I met with the coach. I told him my background as far as gaming, and I got recruited to play on their Call of Duty team. So transitioning from a traditional or a standard player to more of a competitive college player, my immediate transition was this previous last year.
Okay.
So it was a pretty fun transition and great experience, gaming around like-minded people, being in an arena, and also
Mhm.
like becoming a captain for one of the teams. A
Okay.
little a little stressful of being a captain because
Mhm.
when you play at a college level and you're a captain of a team, like most and all of the responsibility is on you as far as scheduling practices, making sure everyone makes practices, doing VAR reviews. Most coaches at a college level is more of an administrative role and a supportive role.
Okay.
But as far as the management of each independent team is based upon the coaches of that team in college.
Oh, wow. Like I had no idea that all of that was behind it. behind it. So I've been diving into it a little bit more, and it just sounds like a lot. So how do you connect with Harry? How do you find him, Harry?
Well, he mentioned Cleary, and
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, Cleary's head coach, Nate Benton, or Coach Apollo, uh,
Mm-hmm.
recommended Ali because I was looking for coaches.
Okay.
Ali and myself started talking, and it went from there.
Okay. And what do you coach right now, Ali?
I coach mainly Fortnite for
Okay.
Harry.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Fortnite, and I'm also starting to get into Rocket League and Overwatch.
Okay. And then at the college level, so you what is your what year are you in the college arena in terms of studies and stuff like that?
I'm currently a sophomore,
Okay. And what is your major?
robotics engineering.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like they go hand in hand almost, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, that's so what are you still the captain for your college gaming team?
Well, I actually transfer out to that university,
Okay.
and I was doing a year at Wayne. I'm planning on transferring to Lawrence Tech next year. So
Okay.
I also competed for Clear's track team, and that made me ineligible to compete for other schools within that same league. So I had to take like a year off from the private
Mm,
university and then transfer next year. So I
okay.
plan on so for this current year, I'm not competing as a player. I'm just doing more of a administrative, like
Mm-hmm.
coaching, teaching school curriculums,
Mm-hmm.
and but I plan on getting back into it next year.
That is fascinating. So how many universities, Harry, in Michigan that you are aware of have a college level gaming team?
Well, I'm not aware of all of them, but I mean, for we had a esports scholarship initiative, and we had
Mm-hmm.
eight schools from Michigan recently talk to students and parents. I don't know. I've heard numbers that there's over 1,000 across the country that give partial or full scholarships, and it's just growing. Basically, I think the way you have to look at esports is just like any traditional sport.
Yes.
And eventually the infrastructure and the support system and the opportunities the opportunities are going to be greater, I think, because just the nature of the beast, right? I mean, they can keep coming out with new games. You don't know what's going to be popular. You don't know what's going to take off. You don't know which games are going to die out. And there's always those opportunities. And even within the games, sometimes the structure or the gameplay changes. Baseball is pretty much always going to be baseball. Football is
Mm-hmm.
always good, but you can't say the same thing for esports. So, and you don't know how many titles are going to be popular. So I think the growth potential for esports is greater than any sport. I mean, you don't have to be, 6'11" or run a 4.240 or this or that. What you need is, a lot of hard work. You need a lot of hand-eye coordination, and you
Mm-hmm.
ability of critical thinking. Those are the three, main things you need. There's other things, obviously, but I think those kind of parameters open up the demographics to more people. Say other sports can put limits on people.
Wow, that is so interesting. Ali, what is your favorite game to play right now in terms of like to try to practice more? What are you focusing on?
Well, I've been playing a little bit more Fortnite lately.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously my favorite most game is Call of Duty, but just since I'm coaching the kids and I'm getting back into the mechanics of everything, I kind of play myself just to see how the flow of the game works so I can add value to the players that I coach.
Yes. And what does that look like when you have, I know there are leagues, there's a Fortnite league, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And how does the league works for, yeah, just kind of walk me through it.
So we
Oh, go ahead.
primary we primary placement over
Okay.
kills. You do get points for kills, maybe like 1 or 2 points a kill, but the higher the placement, the higher the points overall. And
Okay.
somehow as we get rolled into playoffs and further on between the playoff weeks, the points for placement increase. So I know some kids they mainly like to primary getting as many kills as possible, but
Hmm.
if you get 10 kills and you place 32, opposed to someone who got 2 kills and placed first place. The
Okay.
person who placed first place will get more points. So
Mm,
I mainly try to mainly do like strategy based when I'm coaching, as far as making sure you have your mats, make sure you're paying attention to rotation, and getting in the right position to get ready and prepared for that final battle in the circle. So
mhm.
the players that I coach can come out on top.
Okay. I love that. How many kids do you coach right now?
So we have about 7 or 8 teams of duos. So I would say around 14 to 12
Okay.
kids.
Yeah, that's a pretty good number. And Harry, do the kids are mostly from Troy Public Schools, or do you get other people from just different schools, or different, not that people that are not coming from the directly from the Troy school district?
I would say most of them, probably 60 to 65% are from Troy and the rest
Okay.
are from elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
With our model, what we want to do is, look, anyone can play from home, anyone can play remote, but that kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to create
Okay.
a team atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, life happens. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to play from home. We've had children sometimes play remote from the airport because their family was on vacation, or and stuff like that, or sometimes you're at home sick, etc. So if you can log in, you can still play. We just encourage the in-house model.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our kids have never, and this is what I really find really cool, have never experienced a team setting before, right?
Okay.
They might randomly be assigned with someone online, but that's not really a team. That after the
Mm.
match, those two people click and they go click off and they go their own
They
way.
go their separate ways, yes.
Being part of a team, being there for your teammates, learning how to win, learning how to lose, learning how to build from those experiences. That's what we're trying to do. Like I said, it's traditional sports in that sense.
In that sense. Yeah, I really love that when you said about the airport, because I have been in LAX, and LAX, actually the new terminal of LAX has an esports
Hmm.
like setting, like venue inside the airport, and it's pretty cool. It's got all the bells and whistles you could possibly want. And I just found it fascinating because that's the only airport that I have seen, and I travel a lot, that has that setting. So is it more popular in the West? I think you and I talked about this before that. Um, Ali, so do you find that esports is more popular in other areas of the country versus like Michigan or the Midwest?
Um, Honestly, I'm not sure. I know Los Angeles has a big scene for
Okay.
esports. They've been doing it for a long time, and some of their professional teams are based out of LA. And
Okay.
also, I know that they host some professional Call of Duty leagues, or some professional Call of Duty like LAN tournaments. As far as Michigan goes, I want to say we're up and coming.
Okay.
I see a lot of more colleges are starting to integrate esports within their sports or in their schools. I'm not sure in the country base where is the popular or most popular place for esports. But I do know that Michigan is up and coming. I'm seeing more students and more universities either add clubs and then transition into a varsity professional team where you can receive scholarships, or some of
Mm-hmm.
them are just naturally rolling out scholarships provided to students.
Wow. And Harry, from your last event that you had universities, what are the numbers that they were offering, or that they mentioned on their scholarships? You know, the funding, what does the funding looks like for them?
Well, I've heard as high as 20,000,
Oh wow.
so we're not talking about small amounts of
Mm-hmm.
change. And also, I think, like other sports, it's dependent, or you can get even higher if you have a high GPA. Uh,
Okay.
they'll offer you even more because it is a recruiting tool for these colleges.
Okay.
They want, they want students obviously to enroll. And what do what do young adults like? They like to game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you're seeing also is that a lot of these universities are building out their esports rooms, and they're opening it up to all of the students, not just their teams, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's like having a beautiful food court or a great library or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And they realize the importance of attracting students. And at the same time, they want, students with good GPAs. So thus the scholarships and thus the incentives. And
Hmm.
you'll see some, very, very small schools traditionally, but they have what I'll call is a Division I lineup because they're spending a lot of recruiting money, right? They're just giving away a lot of scholarships and enticing a lot of kids.
Wow.
It's hard to turn it down sometimes, especially if you're the parent flipping the bill. So,
Yeah,
I
that
mean, yeah.
that sounds really interesting. And how does this recruiting looks like, from a gaming perspective? Like what are the universities looking at? I know for traditional sports, you have all the rankings and the stats for different sports. And I'm assuming that's similar to what's happening in the esports. But Ali, walk me through into what coaches are looking for to recruit someone to game at the a college level.
Well, one big thing that I heard some coaches mention is teamwork.
Okay.
Teamwork is a very important thing. You can be a very good solo player,
Hmm.
but when you're put on a team with other like-minded people or people from different backgrounds, how well can y'all communicate? How well can y'all function and work together? So teamwork, that's one of the most number one things. Secondly, I want to say ranking. Most games that are played at a college level have a standard kind of like pubs, as we refer to it, match, and
Okay.
we have something called ranked. So ranked play is a little bit more competitive, and when you compete at a college level, we go off ranked play rules opposed to regular rules. Some games may vary, but your skill level and how many hours you may have put into the game, what where your placement is amongst worldwide or even within your region plays a big factor, and mainly grades is a big aspect. And one thing that Harry said that I would like to mention again is esports is a great opportunity for students because it doesn't just focus on like a primary traditional athletic based thing.
Hmm.
You can be non-athletic, you can you know be more of a passive or introverted kind of individual and be getting a full, like, not a full ride, but like, I want to say the university that I went to paid about 50 to 60% of my tuition just to
Yeah.
play Call of Duty. And it's a beautiful thing because honestly, I would have been playing Call of Duty anyway.
Anyway,
So, so
so
you
better
know,
way to get a benefit from it.
oh, most definitely, most definitely. So esports is very good, but I think the main thing that they're looking for is rank, teamwork, and grades. If you come in the door with that, like kind of resume within esports, then you're
Hmm.
most likely to get recruited.
Wow. That's fascinating though. I really love that. I actually had my brother used to play Call of Duty back in 2000. I think he still plays, but I remember being so upset with him because he would put in so much time. And I have my journey through, with gaming has changed so much that I think his last birthday a few months ago, I actually apologized for being so rude in a way because I didn't understand what he was doing and how important it was to him though. So, and I feel like parents sometimes we can come off of that. So I wonder if Ali, what are your parents, you say you've been playing your whole life. Anything from from the relationship with your parents and maybe their attitude towards gaming?
Well, honestly, most parents' concern with gaming is it's a waste of time. And some games may insinuate certain things, and parents are concerned and don't want their child affected by the things that go on within certain games.
Of course.
So from that aspect, it's understandable. I would say after receiving my gaming scholarship, I want to the the conversation changed with my
Okay.
mother, because the thing of the matter, and I somewhat reminded her jokingly, like, I remember all the times you told me to get off the game, and you told me it was a waste of time and all of this. And I took her with me to my college signing when I signed my scholarship. And because I initially went and I toured, and I believe the coach at that time had like took me out to eat, and we sat down and we had a conversation about his game in history, my game in history, and if I would be a good fit for the team. And I want to say about a week or two later, my official scholarship was contracted up and I had to come and sign. So upon my signing, I took my mother with me because I told her about it, and she kind of slightly believed me, slightly didn't. But when I took her there and actually signed the contract, it was like a beautiful thing. It was such a
Of
beautiful thing.
course.
And she's been way more supportive since then. I want to say like early on in my childhood age, it's like I remember I would have like restrictions as far as how long I can play and if I can play this and if I can play that, which is understandable. But I want to say now, as far as esports go in the gaming community, um, of course, parents should monitor and, be mindful of the hours that the child is spending. But I would say if you be more supportive early on, if you like get them into esports like AOE or other curriculums or other things that like you get them more acclimated in, when they get to a college level, they will have like a better resume and better opportunities to advance their education.
Mm. That
Yeah,
is such a great story. Go ahead, Harry.
I just think, I mean, look, we still get blank stares from parents that when they find out this is a scholarship or people make money off this, it's just like, I don't understand. It's just, it blows their minds. So you still have that learning curve of normalcy that
Yes.
hasn't been achieved yet.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, that's going to happen as more events happen, as it becomes more of the norm. I think that'll go away. You still have some, I'll call them dinosaur athletic directors that don't consider it a sport, right?
Yes.
In certain high schools, there's football and volleyball, and that's it to some of these athletic directors. Now that's changing too. And I think one of the best thing parents can do is, from my background, traditional sports, I am a firm believer of no screen time and getting outside and doing all sorts of things and being diverse. Or even within gaming, not just concentrate on one game, kind of initially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Explore and see what you like. But I do think it's really important for that balance, for that well-rounded. I mean, as Ali mentioned, you have to have good communication skills. You have to
Yeah.
have good people skills. And that, that can only happen so much online. So I still think the balance is really important. Um, I think parents, what they could do though, is as opposed to trying to shut the door on gaming, they could, like anything, they could just encourage them to game smarter and to build
I love
upon
that.
that gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're learning from their mistakes more. They're working on specific things. Most kids, they just want to have fun, right? So just go play, go play, go play. You get knocked out, you go back in. If somehow a parent or a coach can interject, okay, well, let's analyze your last match, what you did right, what you did wrong, and,
Mm-hmm.
and look at it that way and use it as building blocks. I think that's how parents can kind of um, help, so to speak, and push their kids towards more constructive gaming and more constructive critical thinking, as opposed to just,
Just
fun time,
play.
fun time, fun time. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys talk about within your leagues and the in-house events, do you talk about the balance in terms of like, posture and perhaps warming exercises for your hands or, taking breaks, like the water, food and all that stuff, because that's still um I feel like that's still an important aspect of, being able to game uh, um, good, I guess. I mean, if you're dehydrated, I think you don't think clearly, or at least I don't.
I think
Do you
Coach
guys?
Ali can talk to that because I
Mhm.
mean I know he had to do you had to do physical training, right? For esports too.
Yes. So just like any other traditional sport, they make you
Mhm.
do like a physical. And also at my university, we had our scheduled like weight training time as far as just like all of the other sports. So even though it's not as scrutinizing as a more traditional active sport, they still wanted us to be active. And we
Yes.
still had like kind of we had 24-hour access going into the gate, but they kind of like limited that. And some students would like if your grades fail or if you were constantly there and not going to class, then it was monitorizations on that.
Mm.
And as far as hydration goes, I think that was mainly like put on us. I mean, of course there were like we had like a lunch room and like a snack bar where we can actually go and get things if we want it, but posture goes as well. I think we have these like state of the art gaming chairs. So
Okay.
they kind of it's you can kind of like slouch down, but at the same token, it's only so much. So the game kind
Okay.
like the chair is kind of designed for comfortability and also to like kind of keep you straight and focused. You can kind of like maybe lean all the way back or lean forward or something like that, but I don't think with the gaming chairs that each of us have, it affects our posture too much.
Yeah, so equipment is important. I think that falls on us as parents when we support that from the home environment to make sure that we have, adequate equipment for them to help with that.
I mean,
Um
we live in a heads down society, right? I mean, everyone walks around like this. And I mean,
mhm.
you walk, as you know, you walk into an airplane now. Um, I would say 9 out of 10 heads are down looking at a tablet or
Yes.
phone. So you just walk
Yes.
and people walk and you've seen the accidents of people walking into potholes or
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
So, a real simple posture is if you look straight, your head's up, your abdomen and back follows, right? Just in
Mhm.
everyday life. Every time you
Right.
look down, you crunch a little bit. So it's whether it's gaming, reading, doing work on your computer, in general, just looking straight forward is one of the best postures, whether you're walking or sitting,
Yeah.
because whenever you look down, your body follows.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So
it is so true though. I feel like definitely people have, worse posture by staring at our phones than anybody that games for extended periods of time because I see it on the airplane all the time though.
yeah.
Now, Harry, how do you guys, I know you send out, newsletters and everything. Well, how do you get the word out for parents to even give it a try, even to give esports even like a shot?
Well, we do some social media. We do Instagram and Facebook. We have our client database that we send out emails to and stuff. But that's the $1 million question. How do you reach everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since we're more of a centralized location, there's no point in us advertising on the side of Michigan or
Of
anywhere too
course.
far away. So we try to concentrate our advertising within mainly, I would say, Oakland County, but we have
Mm-hmm.
kids from all sorts of area codes coming. Basically, we've had kids come drive over an hour just to come play
Oh
because
wow.
again, we encourage that team atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things, and the Troy School District helps, and they let their students know. But I'll call it a growing struggle,
It
really, to get
is.
like any business, just to get your name out there. And then we also have the hurdle of just educating people to what we do. Again, we're not
Mm-hmm.
an arcade, so
Mm-hmm.
you have our product, so to speak, our leagues and camps. So we have to educate people that product is molded around in sports first, and well, what do you mean? I hear all the time. So what's your tournaments like? I'm like, well, it's not technically a tournament; it's a league. Meaning a tournament is usually a 1 day or one weekend event.
Okay.
This is a weekly practice, a weekly match with your coach, and versus teams. Sometimes the teams are local, sometimes they're in California who you play against. So that's another neat aspect is that you get to play against teams from all over the country.
Mm-hmm. That is that's beautiful though. What are the events that are like big or major that happen on a yearly basis,
We
Ali?
run,
Oh,
oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Harry.
oh no, I'm sorry. For AOE personally, we run two main seasons. We run a
Mhm.
spring, which is starting in February, well, in a few days, season, and that's a 10 to 12 week season. And then we run a fall season, basically mid-September through early to mid-December. Those are our two main seasons. And in the summer, we run camps, like a 1 week
Okay.
camp.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our camps are only half day. We run a 9 to 12 camp because we don't want kids 6 hours in front of a PC, right? And even with that 3 hours, we do an hour and a half, and then I usually take kids outside for 15 to 20 minutes, and then we bring them back inside for a little hand-eye coordination stuff outside. And like I said, my
Mm-hmm.
background's in traditional sports, so it's easy for me to do that. But I think 6 hours, unless you're in a certain, unless you're training for a specific event or you're at a high level, I think that's a long time to, maybe 6 hours over 18 hours is one thing, but 6 continuous hours, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot, at least for me. Yeah. So we don't encourage that. So we run half day camps. Those are our main things. Then we do a lot of birthday parties and stuff like that
Oh,
also.
cool.
Yeah.
That sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
Ali, do you have any major tournaments that you like to follow or that you guys from the college level, like different events and stuff like that that happen?
Well, mainly in Michigan, NACE is one of, or not just in Michigan, but or well, yeah, just in Michigan as far as the universities that allow Call of Duty is NACE.
Okay.
And NACE also doesn't just allow Call of Duty, it's other games as far as like Overwatch, Rocket League, I want to say League of Legends, and also I want to say Smash Bros as well.
Do they
But I
do
know,
Valorant?
say again?
Do they do Valorant?
Valorant, that's the one. Thank you. I
Okay.
was I was thinking about that. Valorant. So Call of Duty is one of those only specific games where it only has one league as far as right now in Michigan. I'm unsure of other states, but and I do know that other states compete in NACE as well and like are factored into our competitions in Michigan. But
Mm-hmm.
another main one that we have is WAC. I forget um what the acronym stands for, but it's WHAC WAC. That's another league that most of all of the games are competed in as well. So as far as some of the tournaments that I follow on a personal level, CDL is like one of the professional college or one of the not college, but one of the professional Call of Duty teams. Just kind
Okay.
of viewing them, getting some like stats and like kind of like gameplay and movements and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of look at the pros, especially with the games that I compete in, just so I can like get tips and possibly pass them on to my like other colleagues or other teammates or whatever. And also so I can like integrate that work into my own gameplay.
Okay. That is yeah, that's really cool though. I mean, honestly, this is like it was really an eye-opening experience for me to even find you, Harry, because I don't even know how I came to learn about your program. I'm trying to think back. I don't know actually.
Most people just Google esports and then our place comes up, like,
Maybe.
for birthday parties and stuff like that, and then our place comes up. Um, but it's new, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
the league concept is a new entity on this level. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's not something you would even think to look for almost.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what, what you said. I think I just Googled Esports Michigan and then you just happened to come up right next to where we live. So, and I know sometimes equipment can be expensive, like Ali mentioned the professional gaming chairs, as far as the consoles too. How the kids don't need to bring any equipment, right? You have everything that they need to game the games from the leagues, right?
Yeah, we have everything there. We allow players because there are players that and we encourage it. If you want to bring, we have players that actually bring in their own keyboards too.
Okay.
or their own controllers because they like the feel of it. They know where the buttons are. They got it programmed, etc. There's special keyboards that they've come accustomed to. But if you don't, we have everything at our location.
Yeah, that sounds really nice though. Thank you so much to both of you. Before
Oh
we
yeah.
go, as we wrap up, would you guys just say some final words, for parents, or I think it's mostly for parents, that their children are interested in gaming, I know you mentioned how to support them in terms of looking at their match and looking at their games a little bit more, in depth in terms of strategy and stuff like that. But any other words that you have for people to be encouraged and supportive of this passion, who I think has taken like a very bad rep as far as like saying that gaming is addiction, that gaming, which it can be at some point, um, but more so that it's something bad. I remember one of my biggest aha moments as a parent was that my son was playing Zelda on the Switch, and he was finishing up something or trying to achieve something, but we were in the car, and I remember saying no gaming in the car, and he was like, but why? And I realized that if my son had had a book in his hand, I would have been more, I would have been okay with him keeping that book versus keeping the Switch and finishing up his journey in that Zelda. So I realized that it was my own perception of what gaming is, that I felt that it was just bad all around, and I wasn't okay with it. So as parents, as we transition into supporting the children, whether in school or out of school, how do parents kind of like get there? Anything that has helped you or that you have seen work for other parents, Harry? And then I'll go to you, Ellie, because you are from like the other side.
Well,
Yeah.
I've heard the horror stories of parents trying to pull their kids away from PCs or their gaming
Hmm.
or this or that. Um, I think, it ties into parenting in general, right?
Yes,
And no one
yes.
wants to tell someone else how to parent. Would get involved a little bit. I'm not saying you have to learn the ins and the
Hmm.
outs of the games,
Yes.
but I would say talk to your children and see if they are using it as building blocks, see if they are getting better. Sometimes they just go, you can ask a kid, well, what happened? And he says, oh, I lost. Well, why did you lose? Is the next
Hmm.
question. So you can dig into it a little bit and try to understand the game a little bit that way, and then see if they're learning from their past mistakes. And that kind of thinking will apply towards anything, as
Yes.
opposed to, I just got killed. Well, did you do something wrong to get killed?
Hmm.
Did you not take cover? Did you not do this? Whatever
Yeah.
within the game. I don't think you have to understand the game to ask those kind of basic questions and to learn a little bit about, is your child building and learning?
Yeah, and I like to say that I did have another development for me was to understand the game from something that I liked from like Call of Duty. I learned about photogrammetry and how they use photogrammetry to map those objects, and how they use Navy SEALs to make the fields and whatnot. So, from an unschooling perspective, the children get to choose their activities and whatnot, but supporting that and learning about what they were interested about and asking those questions has been a real game changer for us as well, because I still don't know anything. And for those of you that know me, I reached out to Harry because mods, I still don't know what they are, but I reached out to Harry because I needed some help, and I still do. I don't know that I'll ever get that. But my son says that they are just additions to the game, but there's outside files. Ali, maybe you can help me here. They're outside files that go into a game to make the game a little bit different or add something to it. Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, you're among the right track. Mods are something that can be added to the game that improves gameplay, and
Okay.
different mods and different things may vary. Some mods aren't, or most mods aren't in the game initially, but most to all games are just some form of coding and other things put together. So a mod will be like an additional code that you will add to the game that maybe give you a different ability, or maybe make you have an unfair advantage, or something that's not typically in the game. So for some games, especially on like a college level, mods are banned and not allowed. If you're playing
Okay.
like a little bit more casual, then yeah, I mean they still wouldn't necessarily be allowed per se. Some do, some not, but it's a little less strict if you're not in a competitive setting. But like if you're in a competitive setting and like you get caught modding or having like additional hacks, then you can get penalized greatly.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to share that with my son because I'm not. I have watched countless tutorials on how to add mods to Bone Lab on the Quest,
Hmm.
and they are just take me from being like a calm person to like losing it because they're just so difficult to me. So I don't know though, but as we close up, can you share with me what would you say to parents, you being on the other side from gaming from from a young age, and now being in this path of coaching other children and being at the college, a gamer in the college level, in the realm of esports, what would you say to parents to have a better understanding?
Well, similar to what Harry said, I don't want to necessarily tell anyone how to parent their child. I
Mhm.
know each situation is different. Oops,
Yes,
sorry.
I love that. Thank you.
But one thing that I would say is like being supportive is a big help. Some kids, depending on like their age or their situation, they may not have the resources that parents will be able to provide to get them into gaming programs or get them into tournaments. And more so of like a traditional sport, it's it's a little safer as far as on the physical level goes. Most are all physical contact sports, you warrant injuries, whether it's physical contact with another player or independent like track or something like that, where you're
Hmm.
still being pretty physical. It can, risk a lot of injuries and a lot of strenuous to the body. So I would say that esports is one of those safer realms as far as on the physical side. It may have a little mental pros and cons that associated with it.
Yes. Hmm.
On like a physical side, I would say that it's one of the safer sports. And within the society that we have today, it's a lot of different things and a lot of different beneficial but also negative things that a child could be doing outside of being in the home gaming, and something that like a
Hmm.
parent can kind of monitor and see. So I want to say that from that aspect it is a little bit safer, but I would mainly say being supportive, and also uh, being supportive and understanding a little bit. It's far, especially with the direction that esports has gone into. When I was, even though I'm still relatively young, when I was younger, like as far as early teenage age, some of the resources that they have around esports for middle schoolers and for high schoolers and even for
Hmm.
college athletes wasn't there. And it's still something that's growing. It's starting to get involved in public schooling and also private schooling. Like the first scholarship that I received was from a private business college, and
Okay.
it helped me not only get more immersed in esports, but it also helped my college career.
Hmm.
And for traditional sports, it's millions of people that want to play basketball. It's millions of people that want to play football and track,
Yes.
and it's more of a scrutinizing placement when it comes to that, because you have millions of kids that's trying to get into it, millions of people that's practicing, and esports is kind of, it's a little more open. I would say it's a little bit more open, and it's a little bit more flexible for any and everyone. So your child may not be as physical, or your child may not be as sociable, and
Mhm.
esports can be a form of comforting to them, or a form of happy place to them. So I think fostering that and
Yeah.
helping out with that will propel them further. Like I'm currently myself are am getting a robotics engineering degree,
Hmm.
and esports is a big part of that, that's helping that. because esports pays like 50% of my scholarship.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a big thing, and it's definitely a important thing. So another thing that Harry said, like, just educating yourself more on the whole realm of esports, and kind of getting more immersed and trying to understand it a little bit, and being supportive, asking your kid about the game, seeing
Yes.
what games may be popular, or what games that are competed or yeah, played at a college level, to kind of get them like integrated early on. I know some professional teams, like, they have kids on their professional team getting paid more than me, and that's younger than me, and
Mm.
possibly better. So just getting your kids more immersed into it, and being supportive, because the parent, I want to say, the most of the power is, especially with esports, is in the hands of the parent. A parent can either
Yeah.
propel their kid and make them into a better esports player, or can completely limit it and destroy
Yes.
that path for them.
Correct.
So just being a little
Mhm.
bit more understanding, also, like, monitoring, and just being encouraging, a little bit more understanding.
Thank you. Thank you for that, though, because as you and Harry said, we don't want to, and I honestly try to do this on my own practice. I don't like to tell people how to parent because everyone's journey is different, but just opening the door to supporting those different passions that people have, and coming from a place without judgment that that's bad or it's good, and therefore you should or you should not do it. That's probably the biggest lesson for for us. And then some of our message, everyone's journey is completely different. So thank you both very much for your time, for your insight into this beautiful, very up and coming world of esports, because I know people need to hear it and learn more about it and just support their children, or if you're an adult that are into esports. Do they have adult leagues? Anyone, or is it just for the children?
They,
Well,
go ahead,
I
Albert.
think I think that's more so adult basis, like on a professional level.
Okay.
I would say there are older individuals that compete at a college level, but when you transition from like college, because college will be considered semi-professional, and professional would be like actually getting on one of a professional team, for depending upon the sport. As far as leagues for adults, I'm unsure of that. But
Okay.
There's some, but they're all online. So
Okay.
it'd be rare if you actually met someone. So
Okay.
one of my friends, what his child plays at our place, and he was telling me he plays. It's called the Old Farts League. So it's a bunch of guys that, and he said we're not even half. Some are in their 20s and some are 50. They all meet and they play Rocket League.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's through Discord. You can
Th-
find them. Uh,
Okay.
but that's the only, I'll call it recreational adult leagues, those kind of things. But um, it would be great. I think to get adults to come and game together, I think you would need, the restaurant kind of model. You would need a burger and a beer almost to get them.
Okay. To get
Otherwise, you're
them
just going to be like, nah, I'm going to stay home, dude.
the in person, for to get the in person. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like a lot of us have been conditioned to know, to see it as something that we don't want to share sometimes, because people would think differently. So yeah, so I think it would be different. But at the professional level, Ali, what is the average age? And I'm probably extending because I have all these questions coming up right
no, you're
now.
fine.
So
You're
what is
fine.
the average age, or is there like ending career age? Is it
Well, honestly, that's the beautiful thing about esports, and about um, especially when you transition into the competitive realm of gaming. It's not really an age-based thing. It's more so skill-based. So
okay?
I want to say it was a 12 or 13-year-old kid that got recruited to FaZe. FaZe is one of the number one or number two right now popular professional teams and
Okay.
in esports. They've been around for like a pretty long time, but I want to say the kid was like maybe 12 or 13, and he got recruited to play on a professional team. I think he had over $100,000 or not scholarship contract with that team,
Oh, wow.
and he was good. The kid was good. So
Oh, my goodness.
I want to say, like, it's with esports, it isn't really an age base. Of course, if you're under the age of 18 and, like, for legality reasons, your parents may have to get involved when
Hmm.
you start to, like, sign contracts or get more immersed where you're actually making something off your gameplay. Even if you're doing like a Twitch monetization and you're streaming
Hmm.
your content and getting subs and whatnot, but there isn't a age limit as far as for the youth goes, and also for like an adult. So it's when you're talking professional, it's purely skill based,
Hmm.
purely skill based. So
I've
if you got it, then
yeah,
you're there.
I've
Oh,
heard, I don't know if this is true or not, I've heard the average retirement, I'll use the word, of a professional gamer is 29.
okay. Yes.
Meaning that is when their hand-eye dexterity starts to dip a little bit.
Mm,
And that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's, I don't know if the litmus test has been around long enough to keep it at 29, or is that going to go to 35? Because we see athletes across the board playing longer and longer
Hmm.
right.
in
Hmm.
every sport. So I think that that age will rise, but I've heard that the average professional, where you're at the top of your game, is at 29, and after there it starts to because it's your hand-eye coordination starts to dip a little bit.
Okay.
Again, I don't know, but that's just something I've heard.
Yeah.
Another thing I would like to add to is for kids and also for parents, if the kids start streaming their gameplay, that's another thing that not only gets them recognized by colleges but also by professional teams, because you
Mm.
can have a high rank, and of course that is very important, but streaming your content, showing your gameplay, helps with recruiting. It helps with whether that's from a college perspective or from a professional perspective, and it also helps add to like your resume and helps you know uh,
Okay.
promote yourself a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did an interview with a teen from Tennessee, and he streams through Twitch, and show he tried to tell me how it works, but obviously I was like, okay, I have since learned a little bit more about it thanks to Emerson, but Twitch was I think it was the first time I even heard about it though. So what is I know you say you stream on Twitch too, right?
Yes,
Yes. What do you stream there? Call of Duty?
mainly Call of Duty.
Okay. Yeah.
Mainly Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So Twitch is pretty it's more so it's just like a gaming platform. It's starting to become a little bit different than what it once was. So
Mm.
I would definitely say parents should monitor Twitch accounts. But aside from that, Twitch is just like a platform that you can stream your gameplay on or stream something that you're doing, mainly and solely for gameplay is what it initially was created for. And as far as some people that have gotten big and is in the esports realm was from Twitch, as far as like
Okay.
sponsorships with Red Bull or Monster, and also like getting different advertisement sponsorships and whatnot, and also getting like recruited for like professional teams or for college teams. I know for me personally, me streaming since 2018 was something that added to my resume when I was talking to my first college coach
Mm-hmm.
and also securing my scholarship. So if streaming wise, and then also it's monetization as far as like if you get followers and then like subs, and people who like sub to you pay like additional fee to watch you without ads and so on and so forth. And also there's a donation process. So if someone likes who they're viewing and they want to support them in a more lucrative manner,
Okay.
aside from just viewing their content, then they can send them subs or send them donations. So I would say streaming is a big aspect as far as
Mhm.
gaming goes, as far as not only getting yourself out there, but getting your foot more into the esports door.
Into the esports store community. That's super interesting though. When you mentioned, and I was thinking about it because I'm trying to be short, but short is not in my nature. When you said online safety, when you said parents should monitor, could you speak a little bit more on the just on a general idea? Because I know it's a big thing of online safety for children or just gaming overall.
Well, are you saying from like a gaming standpoint or from a
Yeah.
streaming standpoint or both?
I think from both because especially, like for example, like in the quest when you can, when you can hear and talk to people, I know from
Mhm.
when we do it, we're always around. Like I'm always around and I always listen. And sometimes the conversations or like comments from someone could get really like I'm like, it just kind of hits you and so we talk a lot about not sharing our information, making sure that the conversations are are feeling like adequate to what the game is about, and just to the strategy of what you're trying to achieve, versus when they're trying to get like personal or perhaps predatory in a way, if I could even go there. So
No, that's definitely understandable. I've seen more so on like VR gamings, it
mhm,
can be possibly a little predatorial. So I would
yeah.
definitely say monitor that because there are VR is relatively new as far as gaming. And I must say VR isn't included in esports. It's more so of a separate form of gaming. There isn't really any competitive gaming for VR as up to my knowledge as of right
Oh
now.
wow, okay.
So that in a sense is a separate thing,
It's
but that is
different.
definitely something that should be monitored as well.
Hmm.
But as far as some of the sorry about that. As far as some of the gaming aspects of, from like a console or from a PC standpoint, I would say monitor what type of games the child is playing because some games they have voice chat. Like I know personally, Call of Duty isn't the best.
Mm-mm.
It isn't the best for as far as for youth gamers. I know some like at like maybe mid teens and obviously more so adult based and yes, but those like certain communities are toxic, certain communities are nice, but most
Hmm.
gaming communities I would say is a little toxic as far as like the trash talking and you
Yes.
know um the things that one may say to another. So just monitoring that, it is helpful as far as depending on the game you can play. Just mute them or not really pay mind to it because you don't necessarily need to communicate with people to play certain games.
Mm.
Some of them do, and it helps, but most of them not really. So monitoring that, making sure like your kid isn't getting like virtually bullied or something like that
Yes.
is something that also can be monitored. And from like a streaming standpoint, I would say the platform itself, like I said, is very different from what it once used to be. It used to be solely gaming and but they've added different things on there. So
Hmm.
I would just say monitor that a little bit and kind of monitor like their channel a little bit. You can view how long they're streaming for. You can view who follows them. You can view
Yeah.
what's said in the chat and things of that nature. So it's not. I don't want to like sound too like controlling or scary or anything like that. But I think so a part of supporting your kid in esports is monitoring them as well, and making sure that they have healthy gaming hours, they have healthy online friends and things
Yes.
of that nature.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things they can do right away is if they see this, is they could cut off, like Ali mentioned, they could just say, okay, you're allowed to play, but disable your chat.
Right.
Hmm.
So you're not even, you're not even viewing it, right? Just go play the game, but you don't necessarily have to communicate with with the strangers and the
With the
people.
strangers, yes, yes,
You know,
Right. And most
but-
things you
yeah.
can report them as well. Like
yes.
if there's an issue, like most of all games and all applications, they have a reporting aspect to where it blocks the player and it reports them. And you can possibly get people removed or like, you know, counts banned or something like that. So
Yes.
that is another aspect. That is another aspect. But I would say transitioning from a traditional to like a more structure based esports, all of that is monitored, and most of all of it is not allowed. I know, like from competing in a college perspective, you can't even communicate with the opposite team, and also, you know, with different text messages and things of that nature, like all of that's monitored by the coaches and monitored, like, you know, by administration and the universities and whatnot. So you know they have a pretty healthy structure to keep you know you safe and also like you know protect the university.
Yeah.
You'll find toxicity, but it's 99% in the, I'll call it just the open world games, right? Whenever
Right.
you're on a college team like Ali or in our leagues at AOE, there's no toxicity because all the coaches monitor it. You're not really allowed to talk to the other players except for good game, good luck, etc. Basics
Right.
like that. So, in that sense, you're
Yeah.
safe. Once you start going online and you're playing against random people, then I think
It's different.
it's up to the, not just the child, but the parents just to peep in every now and then and see what's going on.
Yeah. And I think that's part of like Ali said about the support and then just being involved and being aware of what's happening, and talking through the different scenarios and stuff like that. So, do you guys have would you like to add any final thoughts or anything you would like people to know?
Mhm. Well, I mean, just if you're in the Troy area and you feel like playing in a structured league, I'll definitely go to AOEesports.com and inquire about our leagues. I just think, again, in summary, look at esports as any traditional sport, and all the social and all the physical and mental aspects of it can be achieved also through esports eventually if you apply yourself. So,
I
yeah.
love that. Thank you. Thank you. Ali, would you like to add any final thoughts?
Yeah. Piggybacking on a little bit what Harry said, I want to say AOE is a very good organization, and it is something that can get your kids involved in esports early on and possibly, you know, perpetuate them as far as getting recruited on a college level. I know, like this past year, when I talked to some parents that brought their kids in, and you know, I shared with them that I played in a college space, and you know, most of them were surprised. They were like, "Oh, they have esports in college?" So, like you said a little bit, esports is a upcoming and growing thing. It's being more added into more and more universities, and I want to say by the time that you know most people children are at the age where they can receive college scholarships, then esports will be bigger than what it already is.
Yes.
So being supportive of one child, you know, getting them more involved either at an early on or you know just being supportive of it will help them further on, not only in the esports realm but also outside of that when you get to like you know the real world in adulthood.
That is beautiful. So there you go. Esports is definitely a growing sensation, and there is more to come. I think more development and more, additional support, but it's available for those that want it. And we will have all of the links to Harry AOE and their leaks for people to find if you choose to do so and grow if you're in the Michigan area, in the Troy, Michigan area. Thank you both again for your
Thank
time,
you.
for your
Yeah.
expertise. I have appreciated and learned a lot from you. So I will keep you posted. For those of you that are watching us, please do share the video if you find it helpful, if you found their advice and information helpful. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please remember that your time is precious. I hope you're making it count. Thank you and see you soon.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.